Muleshoe County Rotary. Today is the 27th of February, 2018. And today, Carol's going to lead us in the prayer, and George's going to lead us in the pledge, and Sam's going to lead us in the four-way test.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you, Lord, for this day's forgiveness, and thank you for the opportunity that we have to meet here today, to fellowship, and to enjoy a meal together. Lord, we're thankful for the clubs that are represented today, for the service that they do for this community. We pray, Lord, that you will bless our service in all ways. But we also want to thank you for the opportunity that we have and the freedoms that we have in this country. For the upcoming elections, Lord, I pray that you'll give us wisdom in the way that we vote. And Lord, we pray for wisdom and guidance for those that we elect. That's, Lord, now that you will guide and direct us throughout the rest of this day. Bless this meal to our bodies. Bless us for your service. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Of the things we think, say, and do,
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will our guests be seated, followed by our Rotarians? Well, we all continue eating. It's we have plenty of chocolate cake left over here. So if you want a second piece, come on in. Rodney, it'll be all right. You get two pieces if you want to, Rodney. Can you not hear me back there? I'll turn it on. How about now? Can you hear me? All right. Thank you. Well, if you are a Rotarian and you have a guest at your table, would you stand up and introduce them, please?
Gil Robert Reynolds, Channel 6.
Thank you.
Mr. J. Cage.
hello.
Thank you.
That's one time I don't have to introduce Chase, and that's it. I've got Jerry Hooten there today.
Thank you.
Marky Sturmer.
Leanne Gorman, Casey Coker.
Got my son Colt, a fellow Rotarian from Florida.
Lefty Tovar and Melvin Nusser for the school.
I have my bride Eileen and Dana Headington.
All right. Chris, you want to introduce everybody? Or out?
Okay, you can put me on the spot. Got several members of the Lions Club here. Lynn, Jimmy K, Amelia, Ashley, Tommy.
All right.
Thanks,
Yeah!
Welcome, everyone, the guests, and I won't have to introduce this table. We're going to introduce that in just a little bit. We want to give thanks to Craig for coming out short notice. We got contact last week for our lunch today. I think we had plenty. How many we got left over there, Craig? 5 or 6. Mark, you can go ahead and get seconds if you like. All right. We're going to move along. We're going to get started. Cassidy, would you come and give us a school report, please?
Well, it is hard to believe Thursday is the first day of March. Spring break is only 2 weeks away. Without a doubt, the spring semester is flying by. Marky Sturmer joins me today. She is a senior and our FFA president. Marky is also very active throughout the FFA chapter. We had many 4-H and FFA students showing animals last week at the San Antonio Stock Show. Marky Sturmer placed third, and her steer made the sale. Congratulations, Marky. Muleshoe is hosting a golf tournament this week. The girls played golf yesterday, and the boys will play today. Also today, the softball team has a game at home against Dimmitt. The game will start at 5. The baseball team will be traveling to New Deal this afternoon, and their game begins at 4:30. In addition, the baseball team has a tournament in Tulia that begins on Thursday. On Friday, there was a track meet in Canyon, and there was a tennis meet in Levelland. Also on Friday, the girls powerlifters will compete at the regional meet in Monahans. Good luck to the powerlifters. On Saturday, the softball team will play at Dalhart at 10. The game will be played at Randall High School in Canyon. This past weekend, we had several students compete in the solo and ensemble band competition in Lubbock. All the band members did extremely well, and the following students will be advancing to the state competition: Joelle Melendez, Brianna Velasquez, Caitlin Kelly, Laura Chavez, Grace Leal, Anna Phillips, Madison Hasley, Elizabeth Morales, Angie Avalos, Israel Vasquez, Xiomara Regalado, Zena Gallegos, Yvette Elizalde, Kim Hasselhoff, and Alaric Hernandez. The state meet will be in May. Congratulations to our Mighty M band. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassidy. Yes,
I didn't want to do this,
okay.
but couldn't talk Cassidy into doing it. Y'all know Cassidy came in fourth with the Rotary.
Yeah.
What was the name?
Yeah.
Scott.
Thank you.
Yeah. But the interesting thing was, when she went up to 7th, they were down to 4th place and getting these all going through there, and Cassidy went up, was standing there with a ribbon, and the auctioneer said, aside, he shut his mic off, said, "Where are you from?" He says, "Well, I'm a senior, I'm from Muleshoe." Stop me if I don't tell the truth. And he said, "Oh, you're from Muleshoe. Well, do you work in Muleshoe?" And she said, "Well, yes, I do. On weekends, I work at Selborne." Turned his mic on and said, "My goodness, this girl's from Muleshoe. Does anybody know where that is?" And all the buyers were all standing around there, and I guess a few of them raised their hand. And the whole time they were doing that, the auctioneer, they kept raising the price. I don't know, is Thurman here? He didn't see how Jackson's here, he'll understand it. But when they stopped and talked about something like that, the people just keep bidding. They kept talking about Muleshoe and all that good stuff. And her goat brought $4,500. Some of them were ahead of her. Is that right? Yes.
That was perfect.
Well, a couple weeks ago at the Lions meeting, we were talking about having a program, and Sherry Shipman asked if, she said, "Well, let's look at the political races coming up." He said, "I have a relative that's running," and I said, "What do you think about having us a luncheon and bringing Jason Huddleston down here to Muleshoe?" And I said, "Well, let's have a combination. Let's have the Rotarians and the Lions meet up." And so I introduced a couple more lines that I didn't introduce a while ago that are relatives of Jason. It's Todd and Brenda Shipman and Gary and Sherry Shipman. So welcome. Thank you. So, as part of our duties, civic duties as a Rotarian or a Lion, is that we serve. We're out to help our community and help our town as best we can. And if we don't go out and vote, then we shouldn't vote. Is that correct? So if we go out and vote, then we're participating. That's our citizenship right. Come out and see who's going to be in our political office and what views they have. And so, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Jason and Nicole Huddleston.
Thank y'all for having me. Thanks, Mr. Miller. I don't know if to call you Boss Line or what do the Rotarians call her later? Is there something?
Mr. President.
Sucker.
Well, my dad was a line for 25 years. I think I've been somewhere around 22 years a line. So don't get mad at me, Rotarians. It's okay. We normally give Rotarians a hard time up in our neck of the woods, and I've been boss line, tail twister, over the Queens, ran our night tournament, golf tournament, day and night. So if y'all ever want to pull something like that off, holler at me. I've been doing that for 8 years up there with them right now. You know, as Lions, we try to give sight, and so we thought, hey, let's do a night tournament. so they can see how people that can't see. So, I am Jason Huddleston. I'm running for state representative. I grew up in Canyon, Texas. The last 10 years of my life have been spent up in Perryton, Texas. I became a state farm agent, so don't shoot me for that. But I followed behind the Morton's son, correctly, Daniel Garbarino. Well, actually, there's someone in between us, but I went up there, so don't beat up Mr. Morton for that either. But my cousin is Sherry. Like some have asked, man, she's your cousin? I always thought she was my aunt, but she's my cousin. Todd's my second cousin. And I've enjoyed coming to see them. They've been my hotel room. I've been in town 6 times, got to go to church twice in this town. I found a church away from home. I've enjoyed it. But it's been 7 months of, even though this picture would show something different, in the last 7 months I've wore out 2 pairs of shoes and lost 25 pounds. So this picture was taken early on. The picture that y'all get in the mail a lot of times, and I'm probably not going to stay here, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to kind of follow me around. But normally when I go, I have these little push cards when I go knock on doors, and I've knocked on a lot of doors, talked to thousands of people over the last 7 months. Normally, I put my finger over my head and show my wife. She's number one. She's the reason that I fight. On the back is my kids, and again, I normally put up my finger on my head and I show, and this is why I'm running. I'm running against the 3rd most liberal Republican in the state house. Mr. Leal is running against the most liberal senator. I know that you're part of the Leal family. I'm sorry, I was just pointing out. I apologize. But we both have a. Please, sorry. Both for me, please. And that is the truth. You know, the Rotarians say, and I never can say it. Scott looked over at me to see if I could say it, and I've been in a lot of Rotarians. I'm like, man, I should have pulled up the brochure so I could say it right. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? That is the basis of my campaign. Everything that I've mailed you, and I'm so sorry. I am sorry. But this district is the 3rd largest district. Now, the senators, Mr. Leal would tell you, man, it's not as big as my district. But it's 6 hours tip to tip. I've driven a lot of miles. I've seen cotton in the field. I've seen it baled. I've seen it on fire. Apparently we had a fire in Waterway. These new circle balers are having some problems. Good luck, John Deere. So what I've seen, though, is everything that I grew up around. I came through Muleshoe at least once, maybe twice a year, heading to Plains. My parents grew up in Plains, Texas. We'd go to the watermelon feed down there and Old Settlers Reunion. So I know this country, and that's what I am. I'm just a dad that for the last 3 years been trying to figure out how to defend some of our Christian morals and values. So a small look back a little bit. 22 years ago is the last time that I ran in politics. I was student body president at West Texas A&M University, where I graduated. I met this wonderful wife who helped me on that campaign. We actually pulled up some old buttons and stuff that we had from the campaign. But 22 years ago, after I was the student advisory board to the A&M system and student body president, she said, look, if you ever run for political office, I'll divorce you. That's truth. Talking truth. Everything I'm telling you today is truth. But God started messing with us about 15 months ago. We didn't know what in the world we were going to be doing. Politics was not on my radar, other than I've been involved in politics. You know, there's politics and everything. I've been on church boards for, 18 years. That's the worst politics in the world, by the way. If you're a church board member, you know what I'm talking about. Been through church splits, been through bad things. But God started changing our hearts, and we knew some things were not good. Not good in our country, not good in our state. And God literally kept us up at night. And I'm unapologetic about this. God has really kept us up. We need some change. We have some problems that are going on in our rural communities. Our communities are growing smaller. Notice I said growing smaller. Because everybody moves to Lubbock and Amarillo. Or for you guys, they may go over to the Clovis direction. We've got to figure out something. As our communities shrink, our schools get in trouble with funding. As our industry, oil and ag, have both been down for the first time ever. Y'all realize that. It has never happened in the history that both ag and oil went down at the same time. And that hurt us. But I don't want to be Debbie Downer about it. We just got to pull up our bootstraps, and as communities and counties and city leaders, we got to figure out how do we regrow ourselves. Because that's where we have school funding issues. That's where we have city funding issues. And what I've heard across this district, and it's split, I'll be honest with you. And I had to make a decision after the doors that I've knocked on. There's key issues that people talk about. Here's the top two. The top two, and this is from the people. This is not made up. This is what people have told me at the door and in civic organizations. Border security is an issue. We need help from the federal government. We spent $800 million to secure our border. Just Texas. This is a big issue. Because what that does is it hurts us education-wise, it hurts us financially, it hurts us, I just now thought, I can't think of the third one, but it hurts us from healthcare. We've got to stop. And those come, when I ask people, and the shocking thing, that comes from most of the Hispanic doors that I knock on. They said we need to stop that flow because they understand it's hurting their paycheck too. Second thing is taxes. Tired of renting what we own. We've got to do something about it. And I know city officials and county, I'm having great conversations with county officials and city officials because I came out and I said, hey, I support what Governor Abbott is doing to cut our property taxes, to put a cap on it. And I'm learning, but I had to take a stance of where the people are. Mr. Morton and I, we hear a lot of people are mad at us because insurance premiums are too high and taxes are too high. If you want to know somebody, in your farm bureau, you hear that too. We get beat up as insurance guys, go, golly. And I'm saying, please go to the store and tell them the eggs are too high. Stop beating me up as an insurance agent. But taxes are too high, insurance is too high. We got to do something about it. What is the fix? I don't know. But I would rather the people, we talk about local control. You hear that a lot from politicians, especially your city and county. They say local control. Local control is you. You, the people, should control. They say, well, Jason, no one comes to our meetings. Well, stop having them at 9 o'clock in the morning where we're all working. But at the end of the day, really, that's not a very good excuse either. We're all political apathetic. It's so easy for us to sit like I have and just, but I wasn't going to get a divorce, okay? All right. But for 22 years, I tried to influence and say, this is what needs to happen. Please look at it. I've been to school boards and made differences on, hey, we need to not always focus on football. I'm a jock. I refereed for the last 17 years football, high school football. And yes, I've done some of your games, so don't yell at me. But we have all kinds of social issues, political issues, economic issues. And at the end of the day, because I've been a servant, that's how my dad taught me. Taught me to always serve God, always serve your community. That's why I've been in line for a long time. I want to carry a big towel. I want to serve. I want to listen to you. It's my job. Everybody says you're a good listener, and that's what I want to do. I want to learn from you. That's why every time I come to town, I don't want to preach at you like I've done. I'm actually past how much I wanted to preach at you. Because really I want to hear from you, just like I've heard. And I'm sorry I didn't get to your house. There's 160,000 people I had to knock on doors. It's impossible. Impossible. But I've knocked on thousands. I have people that have volunteered and knocked on more, and they've told me how you're feeling. And that's what I want to hear from. I know school superintendent, he's got some questions for me, but that's really what I want to hear. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your questions. If you're following Facebook, you're probably going, man, what is this? What is that? But I'm here. I'm standing in front of you. I'm the one walking to the guillotine, and we'll do it for you every day if I can serve you. And I know it'll be hard, and I won't make every one of you happy. I guarantee you I won't make every one of you happy. But I'm going to listen to everybody in this district. I'm going to listen to all the people. I have a bed to lay my head here, so I'll be back. I love Leo's Restaurant. Sorry, another plug. I got some free meals after that, I don't know. I need to put back some weight. I don't know. But I do want to hear from you. And I will, because he asked me, are you okay if I ask you education questions? I'm going to start the floor with you. If you don't mind, Superintendent, to rear up that mule, horseshoe, and kick me in the teeth if you need to.
Okay. Hey, could you just kind of tell us your stance on vouchers and public education? Because that seems to be a big issue with a lot of legislators.
It's a big issue. So let me tell you, my 4 kids, my oldest daughter's going to WT. She went through public school. She's number 7 in her class. I'm proud of her. The last 3, we homeschool. Okay? So in some worlds, that's an automatic prejudice, and that's what I am getting beat up by teacher associations. But they haven't asked me how I feel. I'm so glad that he asked me, because this is a big issue. That's a big issue in our state. But I'm not for vouchers. It's unconstitutional to our state constitution. I love what Senator Cruz did in the federal side, and maybe you may or may not know this, but I'm hoping that this pulls the voucher issue off the table. But in January, Senator Cruz passed an amendment to the budget. If y'all remember, it went in the House, then it went over to the Senate, and they had trouble, and then it came back. Well, what it said was, on 529 plans, instead of it being for college tuition, you can do K through 12. Great amendment. Except he put in there, and also private schools and homeschools can use it also, not just public school. Well, so passed the House, went over to the Senate. Bernie Sanders and some of his cronies went, whoa, wait a second. We're not going to let homeschoolers. Not going to let them. So they took it out, homeschool out, put it back over into the House. The budget passed. Good budget. We're going to see our pocketbook hopefully will get a little healthier from those, what they did. What they didn't know, in the state of Texas, there was a leaper case that said homeschools are private. So it's a win for us homeschool dads. We get to now use, just like public school, if we want to buy an instrument or curriculum, we can put it into a 529 and get a federal tax break. Doesn't hurt our state, but a federal tax break. So I'm hoping that pulls the momentum out of this voucher thing, because at the end of the day, we have a funding problem in our schools. That's why your superintendent has gray hair. It's tough. He's got to figure out how to educate your kids so they can go down and compete and show animals. I know that's on your own time. I'm glad you made some money back. We show sheep, and we tried to go one time. I don't understand why we showing goat. That's all. Who eats goat? They don't serve it anywhere else. Another plug, trying to get this here. But does that answer? I'm not for vouchers. I'm going to fight for you teachers. Y'all need to pay, or you're not a teacher, I know. But the teachers need a raise. I'm against the test, okay? You know when a kid needs to move forward. The same one that does my test, your test, Mr. Morton's test, and any of our staff that try to go get our test, it's the same ones that administer tests to these kids. It's a monopoly. It needs to be broken. You should choose. You don't even get to grade it before it moves on. And then, in the scheme of that, you may lose funding just because the test. There's no reason a 3rd grader should have a 4-hour test. When is the last time you had a 4-hour test? My instant test was 2 hours, but I'm just like, anyway. So I'm going after that. I may get bloody and knocked in the nose, but I'm listening to superintendents. Most teachers agree. They're tired. It's why there's not teachers coming to teach anymore. Our schools are shrinking in who wants to be classroom teachers. That's terrible. They're quitting because of the test. And that's hard on me. Any other questions education-wise?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You said you supported Abbott and Patrick's property tax reform, which removes local control. Basically, if Abbott and Patrick got their way in their special session, it would have affected everybody in this room, and everybody here would have had a tax increase. Because cities of our size and counties of our size, we have to try to plan for things. So by telling everybody you're going to have the property tax reform, you're essentially increasing the tax.
So I'm glad you asked that. And that's why I stuck my neck out on this. Okay, we have 17 counties. And here's where things are laying. It's split. It's 9-8 on this issue. So I had to make a decision. The bulk of the people say no tax. But when I talk to a city official, or you city official, can I ask you that?
Council member.
Okay. When they go budget-wise, they're going, Jason, look, if you put a cap, of course, Abbott's wanting to go 2.5%. What they want to do is cap the rate that these guys can increase your property tax to 2.5. Well, Abbott wanted 4, so now his play is 2.5. I know he's doubling down to just try to get his 4. But most of our counties in this district, they're going to say, Jason, we're going to have to always go to 4. Honestly, and this is super my opinion, not everybody at the door, I wish we didn't, they had to come to us every time they went up. And what I've told city councilmen is this, and county commissioners, the people should say when their taxes go up. And they said, well, Jason, a rollback election would cost a lot of money. So I've put this out to those that are questioning me on it. How much would it cost your county? And I'm not getting good answers because they don't know. They say, well, it has to be a special election. Why does it have to be a special election? Because here's what happened up in my country. We had fires. Did y'all know that? I know it as an insurance agent. We had fires. We had ice right before that. We have problems with our fire trucks up in Perryton, Texas. And we're having to reimburse some oil companies that were hauling water in to help us. So we need money. And I said, look, I'm not saying don't tax, but the people want to know why. And most people won't come to your meeting. I guarantee it, hardly anybody comes to your meeting, right? Nobody does. But here's what happened in my county. And I told, are you city? I told my city guys, my gun's not pointed at you. My gun is pointed at when our evaluations go down, and we've had 3 bad years, and the county, all the county employees got a pay raise. I didn't get to do that for my employees. I got 2 appraisals. I bought 2 for myself. Went down to the appraisal district. I said, my house is worth $300,000. They're taxing me at $330,000. Is that fair? It's not fair. And I don't know how it is for you, but that is the storyline across the 17 counties. So my deal is, I know Abbott's trying to do a fix, and it may not work in our counties. But that's why I want to listen. But I had to make a choice. The people were saying, put the cap on. So I started sending it out. Let's put the cap on. But I'm still listening. I'm not elected yet. But if I'm elected, I'm going to go in. I'm going to have set with city councilmen. I'm going to set with superintendents. I'm going to set with those and say, how do I need, because this is going to come up again. Do we need a cap? And how do we move forward? Because at the end of the day, I want limited government, and I want us to have a say. It's we, the people. Yes, sir.
I think, though, kind of from what you're saying is basically you want the state to oversight the local government. But our people here are putting their trust in us when they elect us, just like we put our trust in you when we elect you. Our city has an increased tax in a number of years. I've been on the council for 5, and we haven't increased tax one time. And so if we did have that tax cap to prepare for the increases that we would have to foresee in the future, we would have to increase tax every year. So then it does nothing but hurt our citizens.
Well, it's not, and I would want you to think about, am I saying that the state is putting it on you? I'm still giving it back to the people. The local control is the people voting if they raise taxes. The cap is at 8. Maybe I didn't say that earlier. The cap is at 8 right now. Abbott's wanting to take it to 2.5. I think it's probably fine at 4 because most county officials that I talk to, Jason, we haven't gone past 4. But we may ask for 4 every time. So the deal is there are some counties, you know, I told you it was a split 9-8. There's some counties, they're hitting the 8 every time. That's not fair. And the people don't get the real say. They trust, most people trust you guys in the towns. You haven't raised taxes, I guarantee you this town trusts you. There are some towns in my district, they do not trust them. And I said, well, you got to elect them out. Well, no one will run. Political apathetic, like we talked about earlier. A lot of them put the blame on school districts. Y'all are biggest entity on it, but when there's unfunded mandates from the state coming down on you, what do you got to do? Your board's got to raise taxes. So the deal is educating the people more, and that's why I had to take a stand. I had to take a stand of what the people have been telling me. Do I like it? No. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I want our appraisal district board to be elected. That will, not all counties. I found out when I made that statement, they go, ours are elected. I go, oh God, I'm going to change that in Ochiltree County. I don't know about y'all. Do y'all know? Is your appraisal board elected?
Appointed.
And who's it appointed by?
But they come from elected individuals.
That's right.
Okay.
In other words, there's one off of the city council, there's 3 off of the school board. So these guys are elected, but they're appointed.
They're appointed from the entities, right?
But they're all elected officials on the boards that they're on,
Okay. So,
that they represent.
yeah. So, at the end of the day, we need some tax reform. That's the number one. But what should it look like? I have ideas, but is that being a representative if I don't come to y'all and ask? That's what I want. I want y'all to tell me, hey, you know, Jason, have you thought of this? This might be it. Because when I go down there in the Lions Den, when the Houstons and Dallas areas and Austin are yelling their stuff, they don't care about us in the rural. At the end of the day, that's what I've seen. That is true. My opponent says that, and that's true. They don't care about us. But if I know exactly what y'all feel of how to fix it, there's some wise people in our district, much wiser than me. And at the end of the day, there needs to be reform. What does that look like for us?
Jason,
Yes.
what are your thoughts about replacing revenue being raised by property tax, replacing it with a consumption tax?
I'm talking about that. That's one thing I brought up to some city officials, and they go, well, what about Amherst or Booker, you know, that don't have anything to sell? That doesn't help them. So y'all kind of know, this is the education I got, so I'm going to give it back to you. Didn't know you were going to get taught today, but I want to show y'all this so you can see. So our sales tax is 8 1/4. 6 1/4 of that goes down to the state. Not be 8 1/4 because the cap is 2. Y'all know if it's 8 1/4? Y'all help me out. Thank you. So of that 2%, and any city or county official, please correct me because I'm still learning. I don't know everything, right? But of that 2%, a portion of that goes to lower your property tax. So the idea that I've been getting from county and city officials is to increase that by 1/4 or 1/2. So instead of 8.25, it would be 8.5 or 8.75. And that puts it back on consumption. You go to the grocery store, everybody goes to the grocery store, and they consume. That's why he's saying consumption tax. On that increase, we could use another 0.25% to help lower our property tax. So I am for that. I'll tell you this, and please don't throw anything at me because I'm still going to ask. I'm trying to figure this out, but my closest Walmart, Liberal, Kansas, 2 states over. Okay. So when we got groceries, or actually I think we were just out to eat one night, she goes, "Do you realize that they tax in Kansas on food?" I said, "No. I don't go to the grocery store." And you guys are going, "Okay, what does that mean?" You know. But apparently, wives tell me, y'all don't pay tax on the food. Right? I'm looking for wives that actually shop. All are just going, "I didn't ever pay attention." But so I'm wanting to go across and talk to some reps over in Kansas. Everybody says, "Jason, don't do that. We don't want our food taxed. If it'll lower our property tax, should I look at it?" I don't know. So I don't know where I'm at on that, but that's an interesting thought process. Do we do that? Because if you paid a 0.25% more on a potato, is that better than paying it on your house? I don't know. I'm listening. I want to know, and I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out why Kansas does that, because it's interesting. If that would help school funding, put it on it. Put it on the cheese. Put it on the milk. I don't know. But what other questions? Yes, sir.
Well, along that line, obviously in the counties you're wanting to serve, you got a wide variety of property wealth. I mean, we're sitting in a county that's one of the lowest in the state as far as mineral wealth. We don't have any.
Yeah.
And so the boards can be extremely conscientious and need to raise taxes.
Yeah.
Because there's no place else to go, to keep things running in our schools. I mean, I was on our school board for 18 years, but everybody sitting on a board here knows what it's like, who's done it.
Yeah.
We are not, we have to do a good job with and sometimes the taxes have to go up.
Yeah.
And people here have chosen to live in a wonderful county. It's also a county with zero mineral wealth.
Yeah.
You go over across the Sudan, it's amazing. I was on the board and I remember going to convention, and when we would vote, the guy from Sudan is a wonderful person. Their hand would go up and mine would go down, because
Right.
they've got money running out their ears.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
So we need some.
And that's why I think that it's mixed.
Yeah.
Because there are oil counties, and so to represent that, and as we keep shrinking, they're probably in this district will probably add more rural counties, and we're all still having the same problem. So that's why I had to stick my neck out and say what I did, but I'm still wanting to know, where do we land as a people? Because Dimmitt, Texas, they have 2 windmills and all farming, and all their teachers got raises. Because when I started talking about, hey, teachers need to get raises, they all looked at me and went, we always get a raise. And I was like, oh man. So Dimmitt's weird. I mean, we have such a mix that, how am I supposed to represent you guys? Like I said before, I'm gonna make somebody mad because somebody don't have oil, or somebody's got windmills, someone don't. The school has a better bus. I hear that all the time. Canadians got way better buses, and we have to compete against that. Okay.
Well, it's the equality.
Maybe that's why they want Ken to stay in, because they get nice buses. But I don't know.
It's the equality of funding. In other words, we used to have Robin Hood, and it's kind of phasing out. And it's a situation where you look at us in like Denver City, and they get thousands of dollars per student more than we do because of the way the funding is now. And that's what's got to be. The equality of funding has got to change in the state of Texas.
If they've been having meetings in Austin, this education reform, and we were watching, and they showed up a slide And my wife, that's why I'm not looking at my wife. She's going, please don't say the dollar amount because it might take everybody off. But they were showing what each school basically is getting per kid. Look that up. I'm not going to tell you. You want to ask me afterwards, I'll tell you because I'm getting recorded. Is that safer, Nicole? Because she's like, please don't say it. Because when we saw it, that's concerning. We need equal for each kid. And it's not right. I'm telling you. Okay, I referee football all over the Panhandle. And I go to playoffs. And when you have a school that has 2 coaches on the sideline and 15, and they draw up in 2 buses, and you barely made it in yours, something's not right. But and please don't be like Katy, Texas, and spend $80 million on a sports facility. Again, I'm a jock. I'm like, football's king. So don't shoot me, all you football fans, because I'm a football fan too. But something's got to give. We got to help the kids that aren't football players. It needs to be equal. My drama student daughter, it was not equal. I had to fight just to get lights so we could see them on the stage. Okay, that's wrong. That's what made me mad a little bit. To the school board, they're like, wow, why do we care? And then they went to awards assembly and there's 1 light on the stage. I'm like, well, because we came to see you giving awards. Anyway, I digress. Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned earlier unfunded state mandates for schools. I'm the city manager here. I work for Mr. Ellis over here, and most of the people in this room. It seems that the state continues to raise fees for things that we have to do. And I think if you ask any person anywhere, they're going to tell you they don't want their taxes to go up.
Yeah.
I don't want mine to go up either. But I do know that, water is an important issue for all of us. And I know the testing alone for a new city well is about $20,000.
Yeah.
And that money all goes to the state. So,
How you recapture things
well,
is terrible.
Something has to give somewhere. We either reduce services that we provide to the people who choose to live here, and a lot of the people that choose to live here for the quality of life that we're able to provide. Muleshoe's in good shape with water, but it's not been by accident that that's happened. But again, $20,000 just for the testing, to be able to put that well on our system just seems exorbitant to me. And for a city Muleshoe size, that's difficult for us. So you talk about the Amherst or Sudians or, that makes that almost impossible for them.
Yeah.
So,
especially the Tulk station, that uses an enormous amount of water. I went and toured that early on in this campaign, and
so I guess the thing
there's
is,
a problem.
while it takes money for the state to operate, and we understand that, but also we ask you not to limit our ability to take care of the citizens that choose to live in Muleshoe.
Because we have to keep you going, because who's going to farm?
Exactly.
That's been the biggest question that I got the whole time. If we continue to lose these small towns, the kids don't want to come back and take up where the family has been doing it for ages. And if we run out of water, we can't grow anything. And if we don't have water, we don't have electricity around here. So, yes, sir.
One other issue that probably many people aren't aware across the state of Texas, but somewhere in the state, funding was cut to the Vital Statistics Office. And in 2017, there was only one person in the Vital Statistics Office that would file those death certificates. So where we were looking at maybe a week return from the state to get those death certificates back, we're looking at 2, 3, maybe a month. And as you know, in the insurance business, a lot of people need those death certificates to take care of business, not only with insurance, but banking, other, issues.
Funds are froze, funeral directors can't get paid.
So the biggest thing is we got consumers, that they just lost somebody and we can't get a death certificate for them because the state takes so long to get it returned. And having one or two people to process every death certificate in the state of Texas just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And so that's another issue.
Under the banner of, well, we're trying to make cuts, you know, or from a licensing thing, it takes forever just to get a license back from someone that passed their test a month ago. I don't know, you run into that? It's pretty bad. I wish we didn't have license on arms. We all should be able to carry guns anytime we want to, even, especially to protect our schools. Just saying, you need to have guns in school. I can show you carrying a gun, but he's shutting me down.
Well, yeah, I'm not shutting you down,
Hey,
guys.
I understand, and we're past, I kept not looking at my watch. She said, I'll tell you to wrap up, and I should have looked at the clock over there, but.
If y'all want to stick around and ask more questions, I know some people have to get back to work, you know, so.
And I'll stick around. I know some people don't like saying questions in an audience, and I'm okay with that. I understand. You come, talk to me. My cell phone's on all my brochures. I answer the calls. I have a lot of windshield time, so I love talking to you. And there's a lot of people that have called me, and I appreciate it. So, and thank y'all for your questions. And please, call me and tell me, hey, you know, I thought about this. Here's another issue. Or talk to me. I want to learn as much as I can. Thanks.